So today we're going to be going over 10 fragrances that only a true connoisseur would own. You've heard this thrown around multiple times, I'm sure, and a lot of times it's probably more referenced as a niche snob. However, this video is not going to be composed around niche fragrances. I did sneak 2 of them in here, but let's be real. The majority of you don't want to see a full video with niche scents. I get it. You want the stuff that is actually affordable, and that's what we're going to be having here. We're going to be having affordable designer scents, but these are designer scents that are on a more, advanced level. So we're not looking at the bubblegummy sweet fragrances or the blue ambroxan fragrances here in this one because, of course, that's not something a true connoisseur would like. And every time you say connoisseur or talk about anything related, you have to get the hand motions correct. So just follow along with me, connoisseur. And I hope you follow along with me throughout the rest of the video here. We're going to be covering these 10 fragrances. I will link them all down below if you want to pick any of them up for yourself. Let's just hop into it. Now, first up, we have a fragrance from Prada, and this is one of the best soapy clean fragrance brands out there. If you want to smell clean, fresh, well put together, but at the same time, you want something that is going to be refined and elegant and classy and kind of upscale smelling, this is the brand that you're going to want to look into. They do it the best. So obviously when I say that, there are a number of things that may come to mind when putting this video together, but ultimately, I really thought of this one first, and that is Prada Amber Pour Homme. Musk, saffron, myrrh, and neroli are going to be some of the main notes. So a bit of a floral touch from the neroli, a nice overall somewhat warm musk is going to be in the base of the scent, and you get a bit of a sweet myrrh note and a nice kind of semi-fresh saffron touch up top. As I mentioned, it's soapy, clean, and fresh, but at the same time it does have a little bit of a warmth to it, like a warm spiciness, and it also has just an undoubtedly classy, upscale, expensive smell to it. Even though on discounters, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. If you want a signature scent, if you want a work fragrance, or even potentially a school fragrance, if you're someone who is in college and you want something a bit more well-rounded and a bit more mature, this one here is one you should look into. Most people who are kind of on the beginner level style of scents aren't really going to appreciate this one. I really do think it takes someone with a bit more passion involved in this hobby to really fully love this one and appreciate it. And that's why, if you are a true connoisseur, you gotta own it. Make sure you check it out. Let's go ahead and knock out one of those niche fragrances here up next from Parfums de Marly. This one is Carlisle. So some of you may laugh when you hear Parfums de Marly and connoisseur in the same sentence, because kind of as a whole, Parfums de Marly is known for being an entry-level niche brand, kind of similar to Creed. They really do fall hand in hand, where both brands are niche, both come with a niche price tag, both come with that type of appeal, but also their scents themselves are just very likable. I wouldn't want to put something like Sedley or Percival in here, or even really Layton. I guess you could slide it in, but still that one does appeal to the masses quite a bit. And you could almost say it appeals to the masses just as much as some of the designer level scents do. However, not everyone is going to really love Carlisle. This one takes someone that has a refined nose. It takes someone who kind of has their taste figured out. This one has patchouli, vanilla, and tonka bean, so you get a nice syrupy vanilla, a nice earthy green patchouli, and a nice sweet powdery semi-dusty tonka bean. That dustiness could also be coming from the vanilla a little bit as well. This one here gets compared to Mancera Red Tobacco a little bit, and honestly I can kind of see the comparison. It does have a smoky aspect about it coming from that patchouli here, which does kind of put you in a similar feel. Still though, they're quite different, and the Mancera is a bit more affordable, but this Parfums de Marly is really, really good stuff. When it comes down to just the scent alone, the uniqueness, the quality, and everything, this is probably one of my favorites from Parfums de Marly. If I'm looking for mass appeal and wearability, that's a different story. But this will really appeal to the people who want quality and just want something different and unique. Let's move on to a Guerlain, which I'm counting as a designer, although technically it is niche, but at the price point that this one falls at for the sake of this video, this is going to be a designer, so we do have one more niche. This one is L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Cherry, almond, and vanilla are going to be some of the main notes. Love the bottle, super classy, and the fragrance itself in which it is contained is even classier. I love this stuff, and it never used to be that way. this one really took some time, right? This had to grow on me. I did not appreciate this when I first smelled it, and that's because I was new. I just didn't really have a complete grasp on fragrances and what I was into. At the time, I was into the freshies, and that was all I cared about. And over time, as I've continued to explore, I've decided that I really do have an appreciation for these sweeter scents. The cherry comes through up top, the vanilla gives it a sweetness, a nice support, and the almond gives it this creamy, nutty type of smell, which is just unique. The quality is great from opening to dry down. This is smooth stuff with good performance. For fall and winter time, this stuff is top notch. Again, it's going to have you smelling classy and refined and upscale. And this is one where a true fragrance enthusiast, a true connoisseur is going to love. Let's go ahead and knock out that other niche fragrance here up top, and then we'll ride out the rest of the video with designers for you. From Roja Parfums, this one is Fetish Parfum pour Homme. Leather, lime, and castoreum are some of the main notes, and this plaque is so shiny that's completely throwing off the color here on the camera, or the brightness I should say. I have it on auto at the time being for my ISO, and so I just took the sticker off of the plaque. If you've never bought a Roja before, these do come with a little protective sticker over the top of the plaque to prevent scratches. I just took it off. It's got no fingerprints, no dust, nothing on it right now, and it's not going to stay that way for long, but that kind of completely threw off the camera there. As you can see, it is reflecting and pushing a lot of light. There it goes. Yeah, should I smudge it? I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I did it with the Prada Ocean. I can't do it to this one. So this is quite different. This is a true niche experience. You get the animalic notes mixing with the leather, mixing with the lime. So it is quite an odd combination, and everything about it, all of that combination makes it animalic. The leather is animalic. The castoreum, of course, is animalic. The lime gives it this odd, bright balance, which is different, but you don't think you would need it, but you do. It's just for sure different stuff, but it is masculine, it is expensive, it is high-end. I mean, there's nothing else really like it. Quality is top-notch, performance is incredibly strong. When I first got this one in, I sprayed it up in the room and it did not really want to go away. This will stick around for a long time. Getting noticed is not a problem with this one. Whether it'll be good feedback or bad feedback is just gonna depend, but either way, you'll probably get some sort of feedback from this one. And again, this is one that a true fragrance connoisseur is really going to love and appreciate. Someone just getting into it will probably hate how this smells, so something to keep in mind. If you do want one of these, I will link it down below to Twisted Lily so you can get it at a discount. They don't carry them discounted, they carry them at MSRP, but if you use my code CHAOS10, that will get you 10% off your entire order, site-wide for all products, even samples and discovery sets and all that sort of thing. So this retails for $485, which means you're gonna get almost $50 off when it's all said and done, just by using my code CHAOS10. Always remember that if you're ever doing any shopping over there, it's always going to be active. It's a great way to save yourself quite a bit of money when you're spending quite a bit of money. Let's keep it moving here, and we're going to finish this one out with designer fragrances. Keep it nice and affordable for you. From Cartier, this one is Pasha de Cartier. I know it sounds expensive, but again, on discounters, it's not too bad. Balsam fir, sandalwood, and boozy notes are going to be some of the main notes. Very sandalwood heavy. Very smooth, very creamy, boozy, like I mentioned. Tiny bit fresh up top. This is dream-worthy. I mean, it is just so creamy and smooth and just so elegant. I mean, that's really the best way to describe it, you know. It has a masculine, refined, well put together, well thought out, elegant type of smell about it. So smooth and just so good. Again, if you're a beginner, this may not be the thing that you're going to be after, but after you've smelled a number of different things and you want to start getting into some stuff that's maybe a bit less playful and a bit more mature, a bit more refined, this one here is going to have your attention. It just leaves such a nice smell in the air. It's got great sillage, it's got great performance, great projection, all of the above. It checks off. Really, really nice scent that doesn't get too much talk, but definitely should. For fall and winter time, this one here is awesome. Let's go with a Bentley up next, one I've talked about here a few times on the channel. This one is Bentley For Men Absolute. Olibanum, cedarwood, and papyrus are a few of the main notes, along with a nice crisp pink pepper note up top to give it a bit more of a spicy kick. This one is spicy, woody, and dry all the way through. It's got a bit of a pine smell as well, but again, still primarily very woody, and it's a dry woodiness, so it's not going to be for everyone. It's not a creamy, thick, heavy sandalwood like the Pasha de Cartier, Eau de Parfum. You know, it's not just a standard kind of masculine woody scent. It is an ultimately very dry, woody type of smell, and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You know, it's different. It's compared to pencil shavings somewhat, which I can understand where people are coming from, believe it or not, but it doesn't just smell like a pencil. It has a lot of depth, a lot of complexity. Honestly, one of my favorites from Bentley. I even start to like it more than Bentley For Men Intense, just because of how different it is. Of course, it's not 100% unique, as this is a clone of Gucci Pour Homme, the original. That is now discontinued, so you can't really get it anymore. This is going to be one of the best alternatives at a fraction of the price. So this isn't, you know, a new creation, but it is still a very unique creation, considering that Gucci you can't get anymore. This is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but someone who's more invested into the hobby is really going to appreciate this one. We've got another smoky, woody fragrance up next, and this one is a cheapie. So here we go, we're getting into something that's really affordable from Lalique. This one is Encre Noir A La Extreme. Vetiver, incense, and cypress are some of the main notes, so that's really all you need to know. Primarily it's going to be the vetiver and the incense, although somewhat they go hand in hand, because in the original, the vetiver gives off smokiness, and there's no incense in that one. There is incense in here, and you do pick up on that added smokiness for sure. But again, it's really just a smoky vetiver is really the way to think about it, you know. The vetiver itself is smoky and earthy and strong, and then there's just even more smoke added to this one to really kind of take it to the next level. Again, there's a bit of cypress, and that gives it a bit of an aromatic balance, but still very woody all the way through. So that makes this one very masculine. Again, there's no bubblegum sweetness or ambroxan, citrus, blue fragrance about this one, just like with most of the list here. This is more for the guy who is invested. If you're fresh into this hobby, you may smell this one and not really know what to think, and that's understandable. Work your way up to it. Again, what is nice about it is it comes in at a very affordable price if you get it discounted. I believe usually $30 or so. A lot of times I've seen this one and some of the other Laliques on clearance on like FragranceNet, so you can get these for a really good price. Presentation is also pretty solid too. All around, this is a great purchase. Up next we have L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. Cacao, patchouli, and star anise are going to be some of the main notes. I mean, this one's a classic. Had to be here in the video. It's one that if you have a decent sized collection built up, and that's all relative, of course. I mean, a decent size could be 15 fragrances, because that's going to be way more than most guys who a lot don't even own a single one, or maybe they own a body spray or a really cheapy one or something, but most guys these days just don't really have the collection built up. So, you know, I would say if you had a collection of, I don't know, at least 100 bottles or something, which is a ton for sure, especially if you're not doing YouTube, but if you got a 100 bottle collection or more, chances are you've reached that point to where you've gotten into some of the classics if you hadn't been already, and in which case you'd probably have this Guerlain. I mean, it's talked about all the time. For sure it is a classic, and if you kind of get caught up on those, this is one you need to have. It's got a tad bit of a sweetness to it, but primarily it just has this gentleman's smell. A refined, well-dressed, well-mannered gentleman, that's who would be wearing this. It's got great performance, great quality. It is just top-notch stuff. Again, Guerlain, another technically niche fragrance, but I'm including it as a designer, and they're doing good here in this video with 2 mentions. This stuff is amazing. Up next, we have a Tom Ford. Now, this is another one that can be, you know, kind of a debate here, designer versus niche. You can go until you're blue in the face. Again, for all intensive purposes, I'm classifying this as a designer. This one is Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco, vanilla, dried fruits, some of the main notes. Pretty obvious there, the first couple. Smells amazing. If I were to describe this in one way, it would be Christmas time. It would be a Christmas tree. Everything about it. I mean, it's got this tobacco spiciness. It has a sweet vanilla, almost gives off this edible chocolate type of smell, and the smell of like a woodiness. It just reminds me of like having hot chocolate at Christmas time, sitting by the Christmas tree or around the Christmas tree or by a fire or something along those lines. It just has a holiday vibe about it, and I love it. Great one for the winter time. And again, most people with a decent sized collection and they're really invested, this is going to be one of the first Tom Fords that they get. I mean, this is one where if you own any Tom Fords, it's probably going to be Tobacco Vanille first, following with like Tuscan Leather and a couple others. But I mean, this is kind of one of those staples. No, it's not cheap, and yes, it's way more expensive than other fragrances, designer, and even some niche, but it really is worth it. I mean, if you're after this sort of thing, it's worth the investment. Last up, we have Yves Saint Laurent M7 Oud Absolu. Oud, patchouli, orange, and myrrh are going to be some of the main notes. This is an amazing scent, and this was created, actually, when Tom Ford was the creative director for Yves Saint Laurent. Kind of like that Gucci that we were talking about earlier, Gucci Pour Homme, the original, same deal there. Now he's gone on to create his own fragrance line, and now there are a bunch of masterpieces in his own name brand fragrance line. But at one point, he was creating these masterpieces for other designer brands. And what I mean by creating is he was the creative director behind them. He was leading the direction of the scent. He wasn't the perfumer. The perfumers deserve all the credit in the world as well, but also at the same time, this dude was behind some of the best men's fragrances ever, so I would say he's pretty talented as well. This stuff here is amazing. Of course, this is not the original M7 that came in a different bottle, and there was also M7 Fresh and that sort of thing. This is kind of the La Collection re-release. The original, discontinued. This one you can still get on like Fragrance X for a good price. It's got top-notch quality, just like you would expect from an Yves Saint Laurent, and this just blows a lot of the other designer fragrances out of the water in terms of how good the quality, performance, and uniqueness is. And it's honestly a pretty good compliment getter too. If you're someone who's invested, if you're someone who is a connoisseur, you're gonna love this one. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. That was 10 fragrances that only a true connoisseur would love and appreciate. Do that with me. Connoisseur. Do it in the comments. Come on. Let me know down below in the comments what fragrances you would put into this list. Do you think I did a good job putting this one together? Do you think I sucked at this video? Let me know down below. As always, I appreciate you watching. Quick things here. I'm doing giveaways pretty much weekly on my YouTube stories. So, you know, you can access that and watch that. I think you can mostly do it on mobile. I don't know about desktop. So tune in. Each week I'm going to be trying to give away a different fragrance from my personal collection. I'm going to announce the giveaway, and then about 5 days later, I'm going to choose a winner. I'll post that winner on the community tab and then rinse and repeat. So I just chose the winner for Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct Together. So I'm going to ship that out. Now I'm doing another giveaway on Perry Ellis Bold Red. So make sure you hop over to the stories. You have to be subscribed, and you have to leave a comment on the story in order to be entered. Again, if you're not subscribed, you're not going to win. So please, please, please hit that button. I just want to give back to you guys since you support the channel here every day. Really do appreciate it. And I'm also going to be revamping my YouTube memberships. Again, this kind of goes back to the thing where I just have a lot of fragrances. Not to be in a bragging way or a showing off way. It's just at this point I've accumulated a lot, and a very small fraction of them actually make it on this channel because, to be honest with you, a lot of them aren't always going to be the best that I pick up, and also a lot of them just aren't really going to have the popularity, and a lot of people may not be interested in seeing a video. So because of that, you can join my YouTube memberships, where I'm going to start posting some reviews of fragrances I haven't really talked about before over there as kind of exclusive content. So that way I'm not clogging up this main channel with stuff that people just don't want to see. So that's going to include niche and some other kind of hidden gem designers, which just are kind of thrown under the rug. So make sure you go over to my channel and hit the join button in order to kind of view that. I'm probably going to throw in some top 10s as well, top 5, top 10s, ones that may not, you know, be that popular. Maybe they're a little bit more taboo or niche, and so you can access those as well. Alrighty, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.